Hi, we're here today with Colin from Service Equipment, and Colin's going to show us how to do a pre-operational check of a tractor. But before we start, Colin's just going to give us a bit of a background on himself.
Hi, myself, I've been here for close to 48 years now. I started with Windmill Agricultural, or as it was then, Windmill Service Station, and I did 9 years of in the workshop as a diesel mechanic, and from there I've progressed into being a sales consultant for the rest of my life. And hopefully we can do a brief walk around this new John Deere tractor and work, give you the ideas of a pre-operational check, what you need and to do prior to starting.
So I guess it's really important to do pre-op checks, Colin. If we don't do regular operational checks on our machine, what kind of things can go wrong?
There's a lot of things can go wrong. If you don't prepare yourself correctly, especially in the industry these days where you don't want breakdowns and you don't want hold-ups, depending on what sort of procedure you're doing, whether you're seeding, spraying, whatever.
Yep.
You need to keep your machinery up and running and make sure that you can get in, start the tractor and go and do the job.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yep.
All right, we'll let you show us around the tractor.
So principally the first thing, a lot of visual checks with most of these new machinery now. Most of your checks that you can do, your daily checks, you can do from without even climbing on the tractor. So if we walk around, we can see straight away that the engine oil on this tractor, to be able to check it, is simply on the right hand side. So it's very, very easy. I should say, looking at it from here, right hand side, it's very easy to grab the dipstick and pull it out, and it's quite clearly marked and check it. Obviously your engine is your main power source for your tractor and allows you to do that. Now that's an easy check because it's external. While we're at the front of the tractor, you would certainly lift the bonnet by lifting it up and making sure that there is no debris in front of the tractor. Now at different times of the year that's going to vary. Through the winter months, obviously you won't get a build up, but through the summer months, through your hay conditions and so forth, there is times where you need to clean all this out and keep it clean because it's a vital part of your tractor. So the main thing, a lot of the newer tractors these days with your radiators and so forth, you don't necessarily have to check it, but in this particular case it's a very easy check because you simply look over the top and you can see your container there with the fluid. So it's a very easy check. You're not climbing on the machine. Again, always have a look. Normally you would pull, you can sort of see through the grill, see your fan belt and see if that is intact. Most of these, if your tractor is being regularly serviced, a visual check is sufficient enough for the day.
But I guess if you did see anything loose in there, Colin, that would be
certainly
something you need to report and look at straight away.
In this case, you would have a look at your air cleaner and check your air cleaner, depending on your job, and especially that would be certainly a daily job.
Yep.
To check your air cleaner. Apart from that, under there, that's all you need to do. The other thing, really important thing that I see over the years is that people don't look enough a little bit further than their eye level, so they need to look down. You need to look and see, make sure that there is no leaks around your axles and so forth, where in times through harvest and so forth, you can find that you get build-up of material or even binder twine, net wrap, all that sort of stuff can bind up through there. So that's a really important one, just to visually check that. Then as we walk around, if we walk around, always keep an eye on your wheel nuts and so forth on your tractors. They do come loose from time to time, and you've got to remember these things are put together by humans, so humans make mistakes.
So I guess on tyres, Colin, pressure. So how would we know we've got correct pressure in tyres?
Yeah, generally speaking, it wouldn't be a daily thing to check tyres,
Yep.
but it was certainly, you just all of a sudden you would look at the bulge of your tractor, the bulge of your tyre, I should say, and generally that will give you an indication of where your tyre pressures are. Even looking at the tractor, making sure it's sitting square, that will certainly make a difference for short mistakes. And as we walk around the back, a couple of visual things that we need to look at these days with contamination of oils and so forth, which we don't want on these modern tractors. They give you an eyeglass, so it's a very, very easy inspection. In this case, it's just a simple eyeglass which has a dye in it that makes it easy to see.
Right.
Yep. The other thing that you do while you're around here, there is a little white container at the back of the tractors, and all our John Deeres have this, is excess oil, which is an overflow. That needs to be emptied reasonably regularly. So again, you would check that daily to have a look.
So if there was an overflow, where would people dispose? How would they dispose of
That would be disposed in a correct oil, container.
Yep.
So most places that are changing oil will have a correct a waste oil container to be able to put that in. Yeah. You definitely do not put it back in your machine. So with that. The other thing that you would do daily, if you're using 3-point linkage, you would grease it. Again, they're all pretty easily or all external. You don't need to climb on the tractor. As we need to keep those lubricated. The more lubrication that's in there, the easier it works. The other thing that we've got as we move through and around the tractor, we have our air cleaners for our cabin. Now these are recycle air cleaners. This is sucking the clean air into your cabin. So you've got a simple catch, and then principally you can pull that air cleaner out by pulling it from the top, pulling it out, and then you've got your air cleaner, which you would blow out with very low air pressure with a air compressor and get them done. Now again, with the modern day part of business these days, these filters can be chemical filters which contain carbon beads, which give you a very clear indication of how dirty they are or how blocked they are. So and you simply just give them a clean out. These are obviously nice and clean to get a brand new tractor.
Because it's brand new, it'll be a bit trickier to get back in there. There's meaning in there.
Reach, that's right. Simple, put that in. As you can see, it's not a big job if you do it correctly. It is very straightforward. Yep, to do that. Again, just make sure that you have your pins and so forth, everything is tight, there's no loose anything floating around. That can always create problems. Always be aware of your drawbar, that you haven't got any loose bolts and so forth with that. Obviously, if you're using it through the evening and lights and so forth, once you've started the tractor, always be aware of your indicators and stop lights with the road rules and regulations and so forth that we face these days. Make sure that they are working. To do that. Very easy daily check. Obviously, with these new tractors too these days, to just point out, we do have 2 tanks which you have to put fluids in. One is your main fuel tank, which is just your standard diesel, and then you have what they call AdBlue these days, which has got another tank, and that's easily picked up on your fuel gauge, which obviously is a vital daily check to make sure that we don't run out of fuel.
Make sure we're filled up before we go to the day.
So that's a very, very basic walk around which you would do every day before you started, and then once you've climbed into the tractor, there is a couple of other checks that you need to do to make sure that that the day is going to go, very smoothly.
Yep.
What I would suggest is certainly look at your gauges, any lights that may show up, caution lights and so forth. Most of our modern tractors these days have a caution light or a information light, which may be flashing. If you do see that, stop, have a quick look, look around the tractor, and then look into what that may be.
So don't ignore those. They're there for
Definitely
a reason.
do
They
not
come
ignore
up
them,
for a reason.
especially if it becomes a caution light. There it could be as simple as a switch that's not switched off, or another one where you may have a low oil level or something.
Fantastic.
So once you have a look at that in the tractor itself, you can climb in, and then in this particular tractor you've got your steering wheel and so forth. Make sure that you sit there nice and comfortably. In these cases you can slide the steering wheel up and down, so that your posture is correct. So everything is at fingertip operation to be able to operate it. Then once you've started the tractor, then you've got a very easy read of gauges and so forth here that show your temperature gauge, your fuel gauge. Obviously we make sure that, as we said before, make sure that we don't run out of fuel and we're right to go, and whether any other operations that may be occurring around your surroundings from there.
Fantastic. It sounds good. So as far as checking brakes and things?
Yeah, look, before you start, when you are ready to work, make sure that you hit the pedals, and make sure that you have got brake pedals and your clutch pedal. A lot of tractors these days, these tractors you can work without a clutch because they have the transmissions and so forth that they work, but yes, just make sure that they are working and they do return to the home position. That's the main thing. So the other thing with your make sure that you wear your seat belts. Really important these days with the safety. We have got a very secure cabin that we're working in, but that chance of a rollover or some accident that may occur, just make sure that you do get in and operate. That's why they have that seatbelt. Simply to use. Okay,
not there for its look.
That's exactly right.
Very good.
Anything else? Make sure that your windows are clean. That's something that we do see from time to time. Use back window especially. Your back window, you've got implements on the back. Make sure that we do keep them clean. As you can see on this tractor, you've got a wiper there. Use it. Make sure when it gets to that dusk or even dawn or dusk, you can have that glare on the back window so that you can see what's coming around you, and again, be aware of your surroundings.
I guess if anything was not quite right or you didn't understand anything about the tractor, there's something that comes with every tractor that you can refer to as well.
Certainly right, and I will hopefully find it in here, and this being a new tractor, it's not right here. Anyway, you have got an operator's manual, and it is not against the warranty to not read it. It is important to read it because there is some very minor and major details in that yes, you may not be aware of what's happening on the particular tractor, especially if you're in a hire situation or you are on a loan situation with any machine that you're doing. It's really important to have a quick look and flick through the operator's manual to be able to operate that.
Fantastic.